I want to transition before we conclude our service tonight. And so 7 months ago, I started pastoring at this church, and it has been an incredible experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I remember one day I was having a conversation with my dad in his office. This was before I had made the move. And he said, "Brandon, you've got to let God lead you so that you can take the people of Arcanum on a journey." He said, "It's not going to look like Lewisburg. Don't try that." He said, "It's not going to look like Eaton. Don't copy that." He said, "There's something specific that God wants to do on George Street that he isn't doing anywhere else." And so for me, for this church, for our community, the journey from that day, the journey began. And so in September, we launched a 9:30 service. And if you've been to it, you know what I'm talking about. It's growing, it's great, it's healthy. The people are amazing. We've reached new families, new people. I mean, I literally watched a guy in a 9:30 service, 5 rows from the stage to my right, a friend that I saw in high school. Never thought he would show up at a church, and I got to lead him to Jesus from this very stage in that service. We've seen God do amazing things. We've seen salvation. We've seen God grow our people in the depths of who he is, to trust him with who they are. But what I've realized is that when you let God lead you, it sometimes means that you have to let go of your comfort. When you really want to follow God, you kind of have to leave behind your preference. You got to leave behind your opinion to really fully say yes and follow God. And so 5 months ago, we added a 9:30 service to our 6 p.m. service. We had a morning and we have an evening service, and that's been where we've been at for about 5 months now. So in that time, we've realized a couple of challenges that have presented themselves throughout this time. And I want to first say this before I continue, that our volunteers at this church are amazing. That was the part you should have clapped, just saying. But they're amazing. They're incredible. Like, we have 8 services every single week at this church across our 3 locations, and it would not be possible without the sacrifice, the dedication of our amazing volunteers at this church. I'm so thankful. I look around the room and I see so many crew shirts. And as a pastor of this church, I want you to know that I'm always looking out for your health. I'm looking out for the health of your family. Serving can never get in the way of your household. Serving at this church can never start to hurt your family. That's not okay, and that's not healthy. And so what our goal is here at the church is that you would be able to come to one service and sit like you are right now. Congratulations. But to be able to sit at one service and then serve the next service. That's our goal. Come one and serve one. But that can be really difficult at this particular church. I mean, we have a morning and an evening. So in order to really make that happen in your life, you've got to give up your entire day just to be able to come to a service, hear the word, and then serve. It takes up your entire day. It's not the most healthy thing. And so also we've realized this. We found that 40% of our evening congregation is made up of people from other campuses. What? You're busted. We know what you're doing. From our other campuses, we have people, because I guess you guys like me a little bit. I don't know. But it's awesome that you love coming, but here's the truth. With 40% of this room being used for people from our other campuses who are in Eaton, who are in Lewisburg, it's not really our goal as a church. No, what our goal is that we would reach people we haven't reached. Like, we've never set out to reach who we've already reached. We've never set out to feed who we've already fed. No, our heart here in the Smith building, the Smith store, the heartbeat of this church in this community is for the community of Arcanum and its surrounding areas. I want to see the broken people of this community, the people that are right outside of our doors. I want them to have a seat. I want them to have a place. I want them to be able to come in here and get to meet Jesus for maybe the first time, to be set free, to find forgiveness and grace. And with that being said, you have to understand, I preach in this room a lot, when nobody's here, I usually get busted, and it's embarrassing. But I'll preach through my message, and I'm looking at all these empty chairs, and I'm picturing all of the people that are going to fill them. I'm picturing all the families that are going to show up and get in the presence of God and never be the same. People who are addicted leave whole and set free. When I look at these chairs, it represents a person. It represents a soul, a family in need of a life-giving church like ours. And so on March 29th, we're making a change. On March 29th, we're going to keep with our 2-service format, but we're going to be changing the time of this service to 11 a.m. Y'all got to get up. So we won't have an evening service. We're going to, on March 29th, have a 9:30 and 11 a.m. service. And so out of honor and respect, I wanted to let you know before you saw it on some ridiculous video, because that will probably happen. We would probably have some funny stuff that you see. But I wanted to let you know personally before you saw any of that. But I want to ask you this. From my heart to yours, I want you to know, I want you to come to the 11 a.m. service. Like our 9:30 service is growing. It was pretty full this morning, which is exciting. So I want to encourage you, come to the 11 a.m. service. Bring people with you. People who can't make it on a 6 p.m. service, bring them with you to the 11 a.m. We've got room for them, and it's amazing. This is exciting. This is a turning point. But I understand that when we change, sometimes that includes pain, doesn't it? When we change, sometimes it means some discomfort. But last time I checked, every time you say yes to God, His faithfulness meets you right there. Every time you obey God, on the other side of it is His faithfulness. It's His provision. It's His guidance and His direction. And so we don't make decisions by just shooting from the hip at this church. Isn't that good news? No, we prayerfully consider this move. And we know we have peace knowing that God is going to do what only He can do. We know that God is leading us to make this change. You know how much excitement you should have for that? When God says move and you move, that's exciting. When God says to change and you change, that's really exciting. Obedience opens up doors that you never would have seen open otherwise. And that's what we're doing. We're never going to be a church that abides by comfort. We're going to be a church that is always led by the Spirit of God, because He knows what's best. We don't. We can trust Him. And so lastly, I want to say this, and this is exciting too. We're considering possibly having a Wednesday night here in Arcanum. Thank you. This morning, everyone was just like, yeah, cool, whatever. Thank you. This is exciting because we know as we continue to launch churches and grow our campuses, we know that, come the 4th campus, the 5th, and so on, we can't keep pushing people to Lewisburg. It's not sustainable. It's just not a good option. And so this is going to give us our own service. This is going to give us room to grow and invite people. And it's going to eliminate some of our space issues in Lewisburg. But this is exciting. This is. You know what we're doing tonight? We're trusting God. What we're doing tonight is we are picking up the nets. Do you remember this? And we're taking them to the other side of the boat. We're listening, we're changing position, and we're dropping the nets in the water, trusting God, knowing that this is His move, right? This is His community. This is His church. And we're gonna watch Him fill the nets. We're gonna watch Him do what only He can do. God's gonna use some of you in this change to bring people. God's gonna use some of you in this change to help lead people to Him. To help walk people into freedom, to help walk people into the grace that set you free. We're going to see people show up here that we've never seen before, and that's exciting to me. I want to see this place full of people who need what you and I have, And that's the life-changing story of grace and salvation and love and forgiveness. So we're making a change. March 29th. All right?